no.
Hey, 42 here. On the 6th of December, 1966, 4 guys from Liverpool stepped into Abbey Road Studios and began to record an album. 333 hours and many questionable substances later, the Beatles had emerged having produced their 8th album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It would go on to sell over 32 million copies worldwide and be named the greatest album of all time by Rolling Stone magazine and many other publications. It was highly experimental. Using mold-breaking techniques and a huge array of unusual instruments, the band had produced an emotional masterpiece that epitomised the so-called Summer of Love and was a true masterpiece of its time. Yet it remains just as relevant and powerful today. Fast forward 44 years to 2010, and Justin Bieber released his hit single, Baby. This is generally considered to be a bad move. So what went wrong? How did we go from Bob Dylan to Britney Spears, from Led Zeppelin to Lady Gaga, and the Kinks to Katy Perry? But who am I to criticise the musical taste of the vast majority of today's youth? Personally, my musical taste is stuck in the middle of last century. But you may think that just makes me old-fashioned, stuck in the past, and I should probably move with the times. But here's the thing. There is far more to this than simple nostalgia, and when your parents keep telling you that the music died long ago, they may actually have a point. Because it turns out that science agrees with them. Over the past 30 plus years, researchers have been studying how trends in music have evolved. And a recent study in 2012 by the Spanish National Research Council revealed that the suspicions of somewhat antiquated individuals, such as myself, are very true. Music is getting worse every year. The researchers took around 500,000 recordings from all genres of music, from the period of 1955 to 2010, and they meticulously ran every single song through a set of complex algorithms. These algorithms measured 3 distinct metrics of each song: the harmonic complexity, the timbral diversity, and loudness. The most shocking result that the researchers found was that over the past few decades, timbre in songs has dropped drastically.
What is timbre? Timbre? Is that how Brit Bongers pronounce this word? Timbre?
Results that the researchers found was that over the past few decades, timbre in songs has dropped drastically. Timbre.
This is pronounced...
Because I know.
This is timbre, right?
Timbre.
Okay. Sorry.
Is the texture, colour, and the quality of the sounds within the music. In other words, the song's richness and depth of sound. The researchers found that timbral variety peaked in the 1960s and has since been steadily declining.
What does that mean? The timbral variety peaked in the 60s, and your go-to is the fucking Beatles, which is, I'm sorry, what, did I miss something? Isn't it literally like guitars and voice on like 90% of their tracks? How could you even possibly compare that to music of today? I'm pretty sure that even a random fucking R&B song is going to have more variety of sound on it than any standard rock group. I mean, is that how you measure it? What a dumb... Oh, why are we watching
this?
The
timbral palette has been homogenized, meaning songs increasingly have less diversity with their instruments and recording techniques. This divide is clearly evident if we take what is widely considered to be the Beatles' masterpiece, A Day in the Life, which was recorded using an orchestra of 40 musicians. But this is not classical music, this is pop. The 5-minute piece contains violins, violas, cellos, double bass, harp, clarinets, an oboe, bassoons, flutes, French horns, trumpets, trombones, a tuba, and of course, the 4 band members playing their usual instruments over the top. In contrast, Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines uses mostly one instrument, a drum machine. And yes, this is a rather extreme example, a song known for its one-dimensional but punchy bassline, but it represents an overall trend with modern pop music that the researchers found within their data. Instead of experimenting with different musical techniques and instruments, the vast majority of pop today is built using the exact same combination of a keyboard, a drum machine, sampler, and computer software. This might be considered as progressive by some people, but in truth, it sucks the creativity and originality out of music, making everything sound somewhat similar. Do you ever flip through the...
Why? But that's not true. If you go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, they were oftentimes like... fuck. I know for a fact that there were incredibly popular synthesizers that were like... I used to know the names of some of these a long time ago, and I got fucking like 10 years ago, I learned all this shit. There were like super popular synthesizers that everybody fucking used to get certain sounds. Like this is how like when you want to put together like songs that sound like they came from a certain era, you always used these synths because they were the most popular of the time. Like yeah, Roland, like people would fucking use this shit all the fucking time. They were so prevalent in the music of those days. To pretend that everybody had like a different set of sounds. Also, one thing that I don't like, and people do this shit all the time, is people 50 years ago, what fucking bands were there, right? You don't know. The only thing you remember are the literal greatest bands that survived the time. The Beatles, the Eagles, Journey for 80s rock, right? Like Queen. Like these are the only people that you remember. There were a million shit tier fucking horrible bands that you would never fucking listen to. But you don't know those anymore because they fell off. And now you're going to compare that to what popular music today? You don't know in 50 years from now what's going to be remembered as the music from today. And to pretend that any random pop artist is going to be as influential 50 years from now as, say, like Kanye West is fucking ridiculous. What a why is it that so many people
radio and think to yourself, all these songs sound the same? Well, what the researchers found is that the melodies, rhythms, and even the vocals of popular music have become more and more similar to each other since the 60s. One facet of this homogenization of popular music was pointed out by musical blogger Patrick Metzger. Metzger noticed that hundreds of pop artists were using the exact same sequence of notes, in which there's a shift from the fifth note in a scale to the third note, and then back to the fifth. This sequence of notes is usually accompanied by a vocal wah-oh pattern. Metzger named this the millennial...
I can't. Never mind, I can't do it. Can you imagine? What are the chances that the strongest... that the 5-3-5 would be utilized in so many different melodies? No way. Like, if you don't know anything about music, why are you making a video about it? Like, it's very obvious that the guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Why would you make a video about it? Okay. He sounds like Fantano? Bullshit. Why would you even say that? I have never heard Fantano say something so fucking retarded in regards to music. Maybe he's out there and he has said it. I would put money against it, though. I've listened to a decent amount of Fantano. I could never imagine him saying something so fucking retarded. No fucking way. I'm pretty sure that Fantano would be exactly in my camp. That the amount of musical diversity that exists today is greater than it ever has been. That the internet has given us access to musicians that would have never existed 50, 60, 70 years ago. That things like digital audio workstations and the software creation of sounds has given more people than ever the ability to create music. That independent artists and independent labels exist today in a greater proportion than they ever have in the history of all of mankind, in part due to the software and the easy access to all this stuff. No fucking way, dude. No way would Fantano say music today is horrible and music in the past is shit. No fucking way, dude. Popular music isn't diverse at all, though. That's probably what people are talking about when they complain about diversity in music. Yeah, sure. I mean, like, the literal most popular shit that you listen to on the radio is probably going to be, like, all pretty similar sounding. But I'm willing to bet that if you go back to, like, the 60s and shit, like, most of the stuff you heard probably sounded similar. And there were people that were pushing the boundaries constantly to make new music, but people still do it today. Like, fuck, look at a relatively new genre. Would you argue that like rap or hip? When was A Tribe Called Quest? Were these guys 60s or were these like 80s? When did these guys start? No, these guys were like 80s. So even like a relatively recent genre of music, right? If you compare rap in the 80s to rap today, like what the fuck? Like compare, like look at the evolution of that one single genre of music. That one single genre of music. Like how can yeah. This is literally a discussion that's been around forever. The fucking Catholic Church tried to shut down orchestra music because it was too confusing. Yeah, sure. I just don't... People are so fucking pretentious. This is a big problem in music academia as well, in my opinion. And oddly enough, I think it's perverse in the jazz world of academia, which is really sad. And even popular jazz musicians will sometimes echo these sentiments. The idea that people's music suck, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is the fascinating thing to me, is that these new genres of music, what will come, this is what music is, and then something new comes and changes the game, and then that'll go for a while, and then something new comes and changes the game. But it seems like every every time something new happens, these people here will get stuck in whatever new thing it was, and then will criticize everything that comes later. Like, nothing was more pathetic to me than listening to old jazz greats talk about how new music is so horrible and I don't know what happened in the past and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, every single thing you're saying now is exactly what people said about your genre of music when you created it. Why? How could you fucking say this? This is so fucking stupid. Like, every single criticism that you're saying right now applying to new music is exactly what people said about your music when you started making. Like, what is this? How is this your take on this? What are you talking about? You shit on music so much. So I try to very carefully phrase everything I say, just because I know there are literally single-digit IQ people like you in chat that cannot understand what I'm saying. But I am very fucking careful, more so than almost anybody that I've seen on the internet, okay? I am very fucking careful to not call music objectively shit. I will preface almost every opinion that I give about liking a song or not liking a song as saying something like, oh, like, I don't understand this. This doesn't really sound like, this to me. I don't like Death Grips because I don't like crazy avant-garde that seems to not come from a good foundation. I don't really like Kendrick Lamar. I understand why he's popular. I am so careful in the way that I phrase all of these statements. If you come away from this thinking that I think that some song or some band or some musician is objectively bad, I don't even know what the fuck you're doing here. Holy shit.